Hello, my name's Ian Walker. I'm the Senior Director of Johnson & Johnson Global Community Impact, which is part of the Johnson & Johnson Corporation based in New Jersey. I'm here today to talk to you about creating a diverse supply chain and why large corporations have an important role to play globally in the development of this important part of social business and social enterprises. The world we live in today is chaotic. It is changing dramatically, it is changing quickly. The political landscape around the world is changing. We have dramatic changes in many countries that have existed on some in the same political system for many, many years. Business is also changing, and the realization of why businesses can play an important part no matter what the size. Many people think of social businesses as small businesses, small, medium-sized enterprises that are working in their local community. But I'm here today to tell you why one of the largest corporations in the world is really going to use its size for good, and how it's at its core values, the drive to build a strong social enterprise and diverse supply chain is going to be part of the Johnson & Johnson landscape and strategy moving forward. Social business is good for your business, it's good for society, and that's not me talking about it. This comes from the science and the research. It impacts your team, it impacts your customers, and also it impacts your employees. The impact on your team is through retention and through attraction of new talent. People want to work for corporations who are doing good for society, especially the millennium generation. The millennium generation absolutely want to work for corporations who actually make an impact to the communities in which they live and work. Indirectly, this can make good commercial sense because people want to buy from companies that are doing the right thing. 80% of millennials want to work for companies like Johnson & Johnson who are making an impact in society. The next CEO of Johnson & Johnson might be a millennial. They will lead the corporation very differently to the historical CEOs that have been in Johnson & Johnson. And part of the social enterprise and the social business and diversity will absolutely be at the forefront of corporations worldwide. So why did Johnson & Johnson do this? In 1943, Johnson & Johnson wrote a document called the Credo. It was written by Robert Wood Johnson in the middle of the Second World War. And basically it is split into 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph talks about responsibilities to customers, to patients, to nurses, to mothers and fathers and people that use our business. The second paragraph talks about responsibility to employees. They must have a fair wage, they must live in a health and safety, they must work in health and safety areas, good offices, things like that. The third paragraph says we must be good citizens in the communities in which we live and work. And the fourth paragraph says we are a commercial organisation and we must make a fair profit. This is a living document within Johnson & Johnson. It's something we refer to and hear every day. And at the moment, we're having a 75th anniversary celebration where we are using an anonymous system to basically say how we feel Johnson & Johnson is aligned to the Credo values. The CEO and all executive officers down truly believe that Credo values are part of Johnson & Johnson. And when you look at paragraph 3, which says we must be good citizens in the communities in which we live and work, that is where social business, social enterprise, diversity and inclusion come in. So what is our vision for procurement for the next few years? Surprisingly, I believe that procurement can change the world. Supply chain can change the world. The impact that procurement professionals can make can be huge because they have a decision and a choice about who they buy from. They can buy from a regular business, or they could buy from a social business. And what we're going to talk about in the next few minutes is the types of businesses and what you need to do as a social business to become a supplier to Johnson & Johnson. First of all, you have to be a good business. You have to be a good supplier. You have to have quality. You have to meet customer needs at a price that is attractive. And then, if you are a social business as well, and you are putting your profits back into social goods, social value projects, it's going to be very difficult for Johnson & Johnson to say, we're not going to buy from you. Johnson & Johnson will buy goods and services from social enterprises and together we can change the trajectory of health worldwide. So let's look at what Johnson & Johnson have done so far, and especially in 2017. In Johnson & Johnson in 2017, we delivered $1.45 billion of spend with diverse businesses. 10% of that spend was with diverse suppliers in the United States. These are women-owned business, ethnic minority business, single-parent businesses, small businesses, people who you would not normally think about would be big suppliers into an organization like Johnson & Johnson. Diversity of our supplier base is key, and that 10% diversity rating at the moment will grow over the years. 62% of that diversity spend is with minority-owned businesses. At the moment, the increase in spend with these minority-owned businesses is running at 35%. 5.2% of that diversity spend is with women-owned businesses, women-owned enterprises. And in 2018, we were ranked the number 12 country in the world for Diversity and Inclusion Index. In the UK, we have committed to 3% of all spend in the corporation with social businesses. In 2017, that recognised £1.2 million worth of spend with social businesses. Now, we're at the beginning of the journey, and over the years, these numbers will increase dramatically. Now, you could look at these numbers and say they're not that impressive. However, the commitment from the leadership as Johnson & Johnson is that we are at the beginning of the journey. The trajectory of these numbers will increase dramatically over the next few years. I'd like to give the United Kingdom as an example of where social business is really working well with Johnson & Johnson. And really the framework for our social business strategy and social impact through procurement is coming from the UK to the world. Let me give you a few examples of the types of businesses that Johnson & Johnson deal with in the United Kingdom. Atigo is an organisation that employs people with mental health challenges. They provide Johnson & Johnson with media, with video, and marketing collateral that is used worldwide. Wild Hearts are an organisation who we buy all our stationery from, and yes, you can change the world with a paperclip. In every vending machine in Johnson & Johnson, you can buy Divine Chocolate, which is ethically sourced chocolate from Ghana, and Bellu Water, which is ethically sourced water. And these are just some of the organisations that we deal with. Now, why do we buy from these organisations? We buy from these organisations because, first of all, they are excellent businesses. They provide good value for money, they provide good service, they provide good supply chain, but they also deliver social value to those most needy, those furthest from the job market, and those furthest from the centre of care and the job market. So these are my tips for supplier success. This is what you as a social business will need to develop and think about if you want to be successful to supply to big corporations. Number one, become involved with an advocacy organisation. Look for the type of organisations you want to get behind. Look for the need in the market you want to fill. Look for the charities that are already working in this space and understand the environment that you're going to be working in. Number two, stay in your lane. Stay focused. Don't drift too far away from your core values and your core principles and the social business that you're trying to build and also the social need you're trying to address. Number three, do your research. Take time to understand the needs of the organisation you're supplying to. What are they looking for? Can you fill a gap in the market? Are you offering something unique? Number four, articulate and fit your value proposition. Think about how you pitch. Think about the products you're putting over. People will not just buy from you because you've got a lot of passion about the subject matter. People want to know, especially the purchasing professional, will want to know that you are going to be a good supplier. Number five, have patience and perseverance. Changing lanes, turning around big corporations, getting to buy for corporations will not happen overnight. You may need to make a number of pitches, you may need to go in a number of times, it may take a few months for you to get it through the front door. So please have perseverance, have patience. You may be taking the place of a supplier who has been there a long time. There'll be further negotiations to have. There'll be contractual negotiations to have. Have patience, have perseverance. And finally, don't be frightened to look for other ways to partner with your organisations that you're wanting to work with. It might not just be the obvious route you're looking to. When you get through the front door, who knows what other doors may open? Who knows what other opportunities may present to you? Stay very flexible and look for the opportunities. Remember, you are a business, you are a social business, and businesses look for opportunities. That brings us to the end of this unit. I truly believe that together we can make a world of difference. Large corporations are committed to build diverse supply chains. We are also looking actively for social businesses and social entrepreneurs to come on board with us on the journey to really make a difference to the communities in which we live and work. Thank you for watching.